Hi, I'm Leanne Del Carpio, Executive Coach, and I'm here today with Rick Gardner, fellow Executive Coach. And today's topic is ancient wisdom and modern leadership. Now, this is a topic that has fascinated us and one that I'm really excited to dive into with you all. I've personally had the incredible fortune to have lived in a variety of different cultures around the world, and Rick and I both have had the chance to work with people from all over the world of various different backgrounds, have traveled quite extensively, and we were reflecting on some common experiences that we've had, some learning, some ancient kind of wisdom that we have explored with different indigenous people from around the world, specifically those of the Mayan tradition, the Hawaiian tradition from Japan, and also the Kyoto people of the high Andes in Peru. And there's likely more sources of ancient wisdom, obviously, but these were some touch points that Rick and I have had personally, so we thought it might be interesting to explore how, while each one of these cultural traditions has very unique heritage, very unique traditions, and very unique practices that are born of amazing, rich backgrounds, there are also some very interesting common kind of threads that run through these different cultural traditions that we think speak to some amazing wisdom that can be brought forward to challenges of modern leadership. And that's what we wanted to dive into today. In fact, there's likely more, but we've identified 6 common themes of some common threads that run through these different traditions that we think have application for modern leadership today. Now, the first one has to do with respect for nature and the environment around us. And so each of these cultural traditions has actually had a strong belief in being in harmony or right relationship with the environment around. And today, as we face into not only rapidly changing kind of environment with climate change and that sort of thing, our social environment is so critical that we engage and that we foster kind of communities of connection and harmony. And so this is one of the principles that we think is important for modern leadership.
And the second one we've identified as community and interconnectedness. All of these cultures fostered this sense of cooperation, right, and mutual respect, and a sense of responsibility to themselves, to each other, and to the community at large. So this, in modern days, is all about teamwork, right? From a leadership perspective, how do you foster that teamwork, that community, that interconnectedness based upon the common things that you're trying to do together? So that's number 2.
Yeah. And balance and reciprocity is number 3. And so in various cultures, this can be expressed in concepts that hold great power and import in those traditions. So, for example, in Hawaii, the concept of something being pono, really being in kind of balance or right relationship, is very, very important to be in pono with one another, to be in kind of right relationship with others around you, to be in pono with your environment around you. In the high Andes, this concept of aini, being in right relationship with yourself, with spirit, with your community around you. There's something that helps us uphold a sense of balance within ourselves, and then a sense of give and take and how we can get back in harmonious, right relationship with those around us.
Yes, and number 4 is mindfulness, right? So there's been lots of discussion about mindfulness, and this has been critical. We are huge advocates of mindfulness from a leadership perspective, but these cultures all reflected a sense of mindfulness, of getting in touch with themselves, having compassion, for themselves and the community. And this is, an essential, component of ancient wisdom that's manifesting itself quite extensively now in the modern world, and we are very big fans of mindfulness and its application for leadership, particularly in how fast the world is moving, which is, if you've seen us in other videos, we've talked about the value of slow and some other things to make sure that we are mindful as we're moving through these moments. And the ancient wisdom, reflects this mindfulness approach to life as well. So that's number 4.
Yeah. And number 5 is a very deep respect for one's ancestors and traditions. And while that can look very different across different cultural contexts, when it comes to modern leadership, really having a healthy regard for culture and legacy and the traditions from which your organization was born. Certainly, there are some organizations that have a very strong kind of rich heritage and harken back to the story of the creation of the organization. But there's also opportunities for us to tap into the wisdom of the various markets in which we interact, because leadership, by the way, is contextual. So the more that we can understand the local environments in which we interact and what the ancient kind of wisdom is from those areas, the more that we can understand the stories and the way that people make meaning of their lives, and then tap into that for our own leadership. So that'll be a fifth area that we not only see as common, but something to dive into.
And the sixth area is really reconciliation and conflict resolution. So regardless of you live in modern times or ancient times, we're all human beings, and there's all this inevitability and potential when you're living in communities for conflict, right? So part of, we're drawing from ancient wisdom here is how reconciliation and conflict resolution occurs, right? There's no shortage of conflict in today's world. And so it's not that conflict is avoidable. Conflict is necessary and important, but we want to have healthy conflict. And what we're drawing from, these ancient cultures is the process of how to go about having healthy conflict and the resolution and the strengthening actually of the bonding that can take place through conflict if it's done in the right way.
Yeah, and there's a deep, rich cultural heritage and practice in many of these cultures that is around that. I think of one in Hawaii where the focus on ho'oponopono, which is to kind of get in the right relationship with one another, is a beautiful facilitated practice that actually takes quite a bit of training to have a skilled facilitator lead, for example, two family members who are out of pono with one another, out of right relationship with one another, out of balance, and to facilitate a manner in which they can really be heard, be actually able to forgive one another, and to come into a place of out of anger or fear or disconnection or separation more into kind of love and harmony with one another. And if that is possible in the family environment and the community, that same practice is possible to model within the leadership culture in which you create. So this is an exciting exploration for Rick and I. We really think that the faster the world gets, as we've talked about, the more important that it is to kind of slow down and also tap into some of the ancient wisdom that's available to us. So each of these elements can be invaluable in modern leadership, and we thought it would be important to dive into each one of these six practices or six areas of common threads in a little bit more specificity, with some specific applications and tips and practices that you can take back and apply to the modern leadership challenges that you're facing. So we've made a video series with these six different elements, and we'd love for you to check it out. Inside of each of our communities, you can join our communities. They're free to join, and when you do join, you can be able to access the series there. So we'll look forward to seeing you there.